Hello, boys and girls. Lord Hawkeye here again. Some have wondered why I don't talk very much about religion on my channel, even though I'm openly an atheist. Well, for the most part, I consider religion inane. It's really not something I consider important. Like, a lot of atheists think religion's the cause of all our problems in the world. I say, no, religion's just a symptom of a problem. It's not the problem itself, and focusing on that is missing your target. That's why I don't usually talk too much about it. But this time, I wanted to bring up an important point about it. And that point is, some might find this surprising, the main reason why I respect theists more than I do statists. Yeah, that may sound kind of weird, but I do, and there's a very important reason why. That being, really, like, religious people today, when it's brought up that the Bible contains some really horrific things in there, while some of them try to make excuses, a lot of them try to reread it and say maybe we missed something, maybe we interpreted it wrong, maybe we got something wrong here. Now, there's a huge problem with this in that a perfect God wouldn't have an imperfect word and could communicate this word perfectly to people and all that sort of thing. But that doesn't matter, because the important thing is the fact that these people make these efforts. They understand that killing and things like that are wrong, and it's in the Bible. So obviously they need to reread this and try to make it fit. That shows they at least make something of an attempt to be empirical. I mean, maybe it's not as great an attempt as I would prefer, but they do make the attempt, and I think that alone makes a big difference. Like, I have never heard a Christian try to justify the Crusades. I've never heard a Christian say, oh, they weren't that bad, or they were a necessary evil, or it was just inevitable, or... I've never heard a Christian say that. They acknowledge the Crusades are wrong. And even today, I don't really hear very many... The average Christian does not try to defend the Pope protecting rapists and things like that. They acknowledge that was wrong. They acknowledge that the Pope did the wrong thing, that the Vatican did the wrong thing by protecting these people. And that's good. That means they are empirical. They do morally attack their own when they do wrong, at least to some extent. Again, maybe not as much as I'd like, but hey, in this day and age, I'll take what I can get. Now, contrast this with socialists and things like that. When you bring up bread lines, when you bring up mass starvation caused by bad economic policies, when you bring up the fact that the people in charge of socialistic policies make out like bandits while everyone else is dirt poor and miserable, do these people say... I would have a lot more respect for socialists and communists and things like that if they said something like, yes, that was a problem. Yes, socialistic policies have caused bread lines, starvation, and shortages in the past, and I can completely understand why you would have doubts with it. However, I've looked into it, and here's what went wrong before. Here's why it's going to work this time, and here's what we're going to do in the future to ensure that these bad things don't happen anymore. If I ever heard a socialist or a communist say that, or any kind of statist, if I heard them say something like that, I would have vastly, vastly more respect for them. Even if I don't agree with them, I would at least respect them, because they are at least making an effort to refine their beliefs as new information comes to them. But if you bring up bread lines, if you bring up the gulags, if you bring up all these horrible things that... or even if you bring up the long wait times for healthcare, what do you get from these people? Fricking excuses and hand waving. No, this fact is an obstacle to my dogma, and so I'm just going to shoo it away and pretend it's not there. These people don't care about the poor. They don't care about helping people. They care about preserving their dogma, and they don't care who gets hurt in the process. They are deliberately ignoring empiricism for the sake of their dogma. And this is something that even Christians, in many important ways, don't have the nerve to do. I mean, they at least make an effort to refine their morals with the times. yeah, there's still some huge bounds to go, but they at least make an attempt at it. So that's the moral of the story. And contrary to what some people accuse me of, you don't have to agree with me for me to respect you. You just have to make an effort to be empirical. If you look at the world around you and refine your views and try to question them and try to gradually work towards the truth, then I applaud you in whatever belief you embrace. But if you reject empiricism, if you just stick with something regardless of any and act like that's something to be admired, I'm sorry to say, but it's not. Anyway, that's my little talk for the day. Until next time, be aware and be wise.